I want to share a story with you all today, something deeply personal. It's about a moment that completely changed how I see my son, and maybe it will resonate with some of you parents out there. My son, Leo, has always been a quiet kid. He's 14 now, and like a lot of teens, he spends a ton of time in his room. He's a good student, polite, but we've never been super close. It's not that we don't love each other, but there's this distance. I'd ask him how school was, and he'd just say fine. I'd ask what he was doing, and it was always nothing. I felt like I was talking to a brick wall. I tried everything to connect. I'd suggest we watch a movie, play a game, go for a hike. He'd usually just shrug or say he was busy. I started to worry. My mind went to all the dark places. Was he being bullied? Was he getting into trouble online? I felt this growing anxiety, this need to know what was going on behind that closed door. So, one Tuesday afternoon, I decided to do something I'm not proud of. I decided to snoop. He was at a friend's house, and I told myself it was for his own good. I felt my heart pounding as I quietly pushed open his bedroom door. The room was surprisingly neat. Clothes were folded, books were stacked, but my eyes were drawn to a small, locked wooden box on his desk. It was old, a bit worn, and had a simple little keyhole. My heart sank. What could a teenage boy need to lock away? My imagination ran wild again. I started searching for the key. Under the mattress, in his drawers, inside his pencil case. Nothing. I felt a mix of frustration and panic. This box felt like a symbol of all the secrets he was keeping from me. After what felt like an eternity, I found a tiny key taped to the bottom of his desk lamp. My hands were shaking as I picked it up. This was it. I was about to cross a line, to invade his privacy in a way I never thought I would. I took a deep breath, slid the key into the lock, and turned it. It clicked open. I lifted the lid, half expecting the worst, and what I saw inside. It just stopped me in my tracks. The box wasn't filled with anything dangerous or illicit. It was filled with stories. Dozens of small folded up pieces of paper, each one covered in my son's neat handwriting. They were short stories. Fantasies about dragons and knights, sci-fi adventures on distant planets, even a few detective mysteries. And tucked in the corner was a small, worn-out notebook. I opened it carefully. It was a journal, but not a typical diary. It was a log of all his story ideas, character sketches, and world-building notes. He had created entire universes inside this little box. Page after page. I saw a side of my son I never knew existed. His imagination was incredible, his passion so clear. But then I saw something that made my eyes well up. On the last few pages of the journal, he wrote about his characters. He wrote about a young knight who felt isolated and misunderstood by his family, who couldn't share his dreams because he was afraid they'd think he was silly. He wrote about a space explorer who felt immense pressure to be perfect and was terrified of letting his captain down. It was him. He was writing about himself. He wasn't pushing me away because he didn't care. He was pushing me away because he was scared. He had this whole rich, inner world that he was afraid to share. He felt alone in his passion. I gently closed the journal, locked the box, and put the key back exactly where I found it. I sat on his bed for a long time, just thinking. I felt so much guilt for invading his privacy, but also this overwhelming wave of love and understanding for my son. I had been so focused on what I thought was wrong, I never stopped to consider that he might be doing something wonderfully right. I had been trying to pull him into my world instead of trying to step into his. It was a huge wake-up call for me as a parent. That evening, when Leo came home, I didn't mention the box. I didn't confront him. Instead, when he went to his room, I waited a little while and then knocked on his door. When he opened it, I was holding two things: a brand new, high-quality, leather-bound journal and a book I had just bought titled The Hero's Journey. I just held them out to him. He looked at me, confused. I smiled and said, "I was at the bookstore, and I saw this. It made me think of you. I know you like to create things. I thought maybe we could talk about it sometime. No pressure." The look on his face, it was like the sun breaking through the clouds. A small, hesitant smile appeared. He took the book and the journal, his eyes wide. He just nodded and whispered, "Thanks, Dad." It wasn't a long conversation. It wasn't some big, dramatic movie moment, but it was everything. It was the beginning of a new chapter for us. He started showing me his stories. We started talking about characters and plot twists. We found our connection, not by me forcing my way in, but by showing him I was ready to see him for who he truly was. This whole experience taught me that sometimes our kids aren't being secretive to be defiant. Sometimes they're just protecting something precious, something they're not sure the world is ready to see. Our job isn't always to break down the door, but to show them it's safe to open it from their side. If you're a parent struggling to connect, maybe look a little closer. The secret world your child is building might be more beautiful than you can ever imagine. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.